The date I was too scared to leave from Tinder. A bunch of years ago, I matched with a guy on Tinder. I was a freshman in college and just got out of a relationship and having fun. I matched with this guy, male 24 years. We can call him D. He was a little odd, but we had similar interests and went to the same school. So I thought, why not? The red flags started rolling immediately when I said I will go on a date with him. Of course, the fact that he was much older isn't lost on me as the initial red flag. He tells me that he is not in town, but he will leave his grandmother's funeral early, at a minimum 5 hours away, to come pick me up at his time. I didn't have a car, so he said he will pick me up. D ended up driving all the way to pick me. He picked me up in sweatpants and flip flops, which struck me odd because he said he was coming from a funeral. We hadn't made plans, just to get a bite to eat and hang out. Since he had been out of town, he asked if it's okay if we stopped to pick up his dog. He had left his dog with a friend. I like dogs, so I was like, no problem. It's dark, and we pull up on an apartment complex, and he leaves me in the car and come back with a golden retriever that's a bit older. The dog immediately starts growling at me, which had never happened to me before. So I start feeling a little weird. Because we have the dog, he wants to drop him off at his house. This feels logical to me, and I'm anxious to get the growling dog away from me. When he pulls up to this house, he asks if I want to come in, and I do. So we walk in, and I immediately knew it was the wrong choice. The house is trashed. There is trash everywhere. Trash bags full along the front entry, trash on the couch, and just general crap everywhere. He lets me know he has a roommate, but that roommate isn't home. After brushing the trash off the couch, he asks me if I want to sit and play chess. I had expressed that I was interested in learning, and he seemed more than happy to help me learn. This was too a mistake. He begins explaining the game to me, and it isn't as fun as I think. He has gotten very serious and is showing me each piece while telling me what is it, what it does, and how it moves. D then begins questioning me over each piece, which most I get wrong. Every time I get one wrong, he yells at me the correct answers and tells me, try again. He got more and more frustrated and made me very uncomfortable, so I suggest we pause chess and do something else. D suggests watching a movie, which is fine with me. The idea of us leaving and going to get food seemingly forgot. He tells me that we can watch the movie in his room, and I oblige. But then he explains he had to put sheets on the bed because he washed them before leaving for his grandma's funeral. I had assumed we were moving to his bedroom because it might be cleaner. But when you go in and it's not, there is not TV in this room. He proceeded to put Iron Man 2 on his phone to have us watch. We watched about 10 minutes of it before things got sexual. I won't tell you strangers the details, but short story short, we didn't have intercourse, but other things went down. I will say those things were consensual. After they occurred, I was feeling really odd about the whole situation and told him I didn't want to be more intimate with him. He was confused, but didn't push it at first. He said fine, and we watched maybe 5 more minutes of the movies before he said he didn't want to watch the movie anymore. He started complaining and asking me why I didn't want to have intercourse with him, and I simply said I wasn't in the mood anymore. He then began pressuring me to tell him exactly what it was about him that made me feel that way. At this point, we had moved from the bedroom back into the dirty living room. You might be thinking, seems like a perfect time to leave. And I thought so too. But this is where things start to get scary. As if he knows I'm thinking about how I'm living, he explodes and begins to scream at me. This is a 6 foot something man screaming in the face of a 5 foot nothing young girl. Of course, I'm internally freaking out. I'm trying to make sure I didn't piss him off anymore, but also agreeing to anything. For the next 5 to 10 minutes, he screams at me why I don't like him, why I don't want him, and continuously asks what continuously asks what's wrong with him and to tell him. I try to avoid him as best as possible, saying the old, it's not you, it's me, and I don't want to leave. Again, this man is my only ride home, and I'm truthfully not sure exactly where I was. Thought I did have my phone and Google Maps. I did not have Uber at the time. He finally calms down when he believes I'm going to stay. Then suggests we try playing some video games. I was in full internal freakout mode, trying to make sure I was playing the part of the interested date because I was terrified that if he felt it I wanted to leave, he would freak out again. We played this game for a while. Then, out of nowhere, Dee starts getting upset again. He started yelling about why no one likes him, why no one wants to get to know him, and why no one loves him, saying that he has never had a girlfriend and all his dates have been one night stands. Again, I avoid him with, I don't know, lots of girls are just like that. At this point, I'm saying anything and everything he wants to hear. He even starts crying about his mother never loving him and telling me very deep, dark things about what his mother has said to him and treated him. After he finally calms down once more, he gets up to the kitchen to fix us some drinks. Now, if you're anyone with a brain, you're thinking absolutely not, which was my exact thought at the moment. I declined his multiple offers for a drink, asks if instead of alcohol I wanted water, and of course I declined that too, saying I wasn't thirsty. I stayed at his apartment until 1 a.m. because I was sitting next to him, terrified to ask him to take me home and say I'd walk home and figure out how to get an Uber. I had been trying to download Uber on my phone without him noticing, but then it asks for a credit card information, and that was too hard to do without him noticing. So around 1 a.m., I yawn very loudly. Oh wow, it's 1 a.m. My roommate's going to be worried about me. I laugh as if my roommate would be stupid to worry, and that I hadn't been watching the clock since he picked me up at 9 p.m. Then said, I'm so tired, I should get home soon. Again, I was super scared he will freak out, but he didn't explode. He just looked at the clock and said, yeah, it was late. But I was not taking any chances, so I said, I have a great idea. If I get to bed soon, I'd love to have breakfast with you on campus. I was hoping my offer convinced him that I was intending to see him again. And I did. He did. He seemed very happy at the prospect of it and jumped up, walking me out of the house and to his car. The drive back was excruciatingly long. The ride was completely silent. Neither of us spoke. It was only a 10 minutes drive, but I could have sworn he had slowed down every time we got a particularly dark. area or underpass. He dropped me off and I smiled and made a good show of being tired, yet excited to see him tomorrow. He offered multiple times to walk me to my door, but I declined every time and said I didn't want to bother him and I'd see him tomorrow. I walk myself to the building, and the moment I get around the corner, I sprinted so fast up the stairs and to my door before he could change his mind and follow me to my door. When I got in my dorm, I genuinely felt like I was just escaped a serial killer. Even now, writing it makes my heart race a bit. I never meet up with him, but he begged me for multiple days after to meet up with him again. He even asked to pay me $20 an hour to sit near me in the library. I declined, obviously, and only ever saw him once after the gym on campus. He didn't see me, and I left immediately. I thought about you occasionally since the date and wondered if all those girls he had one night stands with had the same experience I did. I still sometimes wonder how many girls were there after me. So, D, let's not meet again.